If you have ever filled a bag to donate to a thrift store, I am willing to bet it came from a good place in your heart. You wanted to let go of things you no longer needed, and you hoped someone else might find value in them. It feels good, doesn't it? To imagine someone finding joy in the items we are finally ready to part with. But here is something most people never tell you. Not everything we donate actually helps. Sometimes, instead of giving a gift, we unintentionally hand off a burden. Thrift stores receive more items than they can handle, and many of the things we think we are doing good by donating are actually unusable. They end up in the trash, only now someone else has to deal with them. That does not mean you are doing something wrong. It just means there is a better way, a more thoughtful way, a way that allows you to let go with integrity, and not just to get something out of your space. Today, I want to gently walk you through 7 things you should never donate, and more importantly, what you can do instead. These are things you might have in your home right now. Some may surprise you, and all of them come with better options for letting go kindly and responsibly. 1. Broken or damaged items. You know that chair in the garage with the loose leg? The one you have been meaning to fix for years, but never quite got around to it. Or the old toaster that used to work just fine, but now only heats on one side? Or maybe those shoes you loved, but the soles are completely worn out. It is easy to look at these things and think, well, maybe someone else could fix it. I should donate it. That thought comes from a good place, a hopeful place. But here is the reality. Most thrift stores are not equipped to repair or refurbish broken or damaged items. They simply do not have the staff, budget, or time. And so what happens? Your item ends up in the trash, not immediately. First, it gets transported, sorted, handled, and assessed by someone else. Then, once it is clear that it cannot be resold or safely used, it is thrown away after wasting time, energy, and resources that could have been directed elsewhere. I know it can feel hard to admit that something we once valued is now truly unusable. There is a small ache in saying, this no longer serves anyone. But here's the thing. Letting go responsibly is an act of care for the people who run donation centers, for the environment, and for yourself. So what can you do instead? Start by checking with your local city or county services. Many towns have bulk recycling or special drop-off days for large damaged items, everything from furniture and mattresses to old appliances and metal scraps. Some even offer scheduled pickups. If your item still has some life in it, but needs a little attention, consider a local fix-it program. Many communities have volunteer-based repair events where skilled hands can bring broken items back to life and give them directly to someone in need. Or offer it on a neighborhood website or community group, clearly noting what is wrong. You would be surprised how many handy folks are willing to take something off your hands if they know what to expect. And finally, if none of these apply, just throw it away. That is not wasteful. That is honest. Holding on to broken items or passing them off to someone else does not keep them out of the landfill. It just delays the journey and adds weight to someone else's day. Let go with clarity. Let go with care. Not every item deserves a second chance, but you do, and so does your home. 2. Expired food and toiletries. One winter, I decided it was finally time to clean out my pantry. You know the drill. Pulling cans out from the back, checking dates, shaking bottles that had separated, wondering why I still had 2 bottles of molasses and 3 containers of baking powder. And then I did what many of us do. I filled a bag with the still pretty good stuff. Not quite rotten, but past date. A few old vitamins. A half-used lotion bottle from the guest bathroom. Some herbal teas I had never opened. And I set it aside to donate. It felt good for about 5 minutes, until I paused and asked myself, who exactly is going to use this? Thrift stores do not take food. Shelters and food pantries often cannot legally accept items past their printed expiration date, even if they are just 1 week over. Personal care items like lotions, oils, and vitamins, they are considered health risks once expired or unsealed. So what are we doing when we drop off these things? We are not donating. We are passing the decision and the burden onto someone else. Someone at the food bank or donation center now has to sort, assess, and dispose of what we were not willing to deal with ourselves. And that is not fair. But here's the good news. There are better, more thoughtful options. For expired food, compost what you can: fruits, vegetables, grains, coffee grounds. Rinse and recycle containers if eligible. Use up old baking soda or vinegar for cleaning tasks. For expired toiletries, old lotions and oils can sometimes be used to polish wood or leather. Some can be turned into homemade cleaning products or used on tools to prevent rust. If none of that applies, dispose of them safely and responsibly. And here's something to consider. Why are we holding on to expired items in the first place? Often, it's because we hate waste. We hate throwing things out. It feels irresponsible. But keeping something long past its usefulness, or worse, giving it to someone else to sort through, is not responsible. It's just avoidance. True care is looking at something, naming it for what it is, and making the final call yourself. So go ahead. Clear the shelf. Rinse the jar. Let it go. You do not have to donate everything to be a generous person. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do is to say, "This has served its purpose. It's time to let it rest." 3. Used undergarments and socks. Let me ask you something gently. When was the last time you reached into the back of your drawer and pulled out a pair of underwear you don't really like, but kept anyway? We all have them. The stretched out bra, the sock with a thinning heel, the undergarments that ride up or fall down, but we keep them just in case. Just in case what? Just in case we run out? Just in case we fall on hard times? Just in case someone else might need them? I say this with love. These just in case items are not doing you any favors. They are not serving you. And they are definitely not serving anyone else when we toss them into a donation bag. Most thrift stores will not accept used undergarments or socks, even if they're barely worn or almost new. They are considered hygiene items, and for good reason. Once they've been worn, even once, they usually end up in the trash, no matter how carefully folded or thoughtfully delivered. So why do we donate them? Because we want to believe that everything has another use. We want to believe that even the smallest item, even the most personal one, can still help someone else. But there are better ways to care, for others, and for ourselves. Here's what you can do instead. Cut old undergarments and socks into soft cleaning cloths or dusting rags. Use them for crafting, stuffing, or even pet bedding. Find textile recycling centers. Some stores like H&M still offer these programs. And, when necessary, throw them away with gratitude, not guilt. Letting go of worn-out items isn't wasteful. It's a way of saying, "I deserve better than this." And so does anyone else who might have received it secondhand. There's dignity in comfort. There's kindness in discretion. There's self-respect in choosing to surround yourself and others with things that are clean, safe, and whole. So the next time you clean out that drawer, ask yourself not just, "Could someone use this?" but, "Would I give this to someone I love?" If the answer is no, then it's time to let it go. 4. Personalized or monogrammed items. Years ago, I received a mug for Christmas with my name printed in big bold letters. It said, "John's Morning Fuel." It made me laugh, it was thoughtful, and for a long time, I used it every day. But years passed. The mug sat untouched in the back of the cabinet. The sentiment faded, but I still hesitated to let it go. I thought, it's still in good shape. I'll just donate it. And then I imagined someone walking through the thrift store aisle and picking up a mug with my name on it. They'd likely set it right back down. That's the quiet truth about personalized or monogrammed items. Towels with initials, sports jerseys from local leagues, mugs or notebooks with names, shirts from bowling tournaments, family reunions, or church events. They are meaningful to us, but they are nearly impossible to resell. Most thrift stores do not want them. Even if they put them on a shelf, they rarely get chosen. They sit unclaimed until they are quietly disposed of. So, what can we do instead? Start by remembering why you kept it in the first place. Was it because of the memory, the laughter, the sentiment? If so, the memory is already yours. It is not in the shirt. It is not in the mug. It is not in the embroidery. Try this. Take a photo of the item if it's sentimental. Save it in a digital memory album. Repurpose monogrammed towels or shirts as rags, cleaning cloths, or pet bedding. Use personalized mugs as planners, pen holders, or brush cups. Or if you feel ready, let it go. And I mean really let it go. Not by passing it along for someone else to deal with, but by thanking it for what it represented and discarding it with peace. You are not throwing away the love. You are simply choosing not to confuse the memory with the material. Let yourself be free to remember. Let someone else be free to choose items that speak to them, not to you. You do not owe your home to your past. You owe it to your present. 5. Old electronics and random cables. Let me guess. Somewhere in your house? Maybe a drawer in the kitchen? Maybe a box in the closet. You've got a tangle of old phone chargers, power cords, and mystery cables. You're not quite sure what half of them go to anymore. But you keep them. Just in case. You're not alone. We all have that one box. The one with the remote to a DVD player we no longer own. A charger that might have belonged to a camera that stopped working years ago. Maybe even an old cell phone or two, gathering dust with outdated software and a cracked screen. And when it's time to declutter, we think, well, these might still work. I'll just donate them. But here's the thing. Most thrift stores cannot test electronics. They don't have the time, the tools, or the liability coverage to plug in used devices and hope for the best. A shorted cable or faulty toaster can be a fire hazard. That's a risk they can't take. So what happens? Your donation ends up in their trash bin, and even if an electronic item still works, if it's missing parts, or if the matching cord is buried in a separate box, it's unlikely anyone will buy it. The same goes for random cables. Unless they're clearly labeled and in excellent condition, they'll be tossed. Not out of ungratefulness, but out of necessity. So what should you do instead? Start with e-waste recycling. Many cities and towns have designated drop-off days or centers that accept old electronics. These programs ensure that materials are properly handled and often recycled for parts, rather than dumped in a landfill. Large retailers like Best Buy, Staples, or Home Depot often have year-round e-waste programs. You can bring in old phones, laptops, tablets, printers, routers, cords, and cables. They will handle the rest. If you have devices that still work, like an old DVD player or gaming console, you might call around to local community centers, youth programs, or shelters. Many will gladly accept working items, especially for recreation or educational use. And if you feel unsure about tossing something, ask yourself this. When was the last time I used this? Do I even know what this cable connects to? Am I holding this out of habit or out of need? We often hold on to these things, not because we need them, but because we feel guilty letting them go. Because we don't want to be wasteful. But keeping clutter isn't the same as being responsible. Responsibility is saying, this has reached the end of its usefulness in my home, and then making sure it's handled with care. Whether that means recycling, donating to the right place, or, yes, letting it go completely. So go ahead. Open the box, pull out the tangled cords, sort through the electronics, and free yourself from the tech of years gone by. Your home doesn't need wires to the past. It needs space for the life you're living now. 6. Holiday decor with names or dates. A few years ago, I opened a box of old Christmas decorations. The smell of old pine-scented candles and artificial garland greeted me like an old friend. There were ornaments I hadn't seen in years, some cracked, some dusty, and some with names written in glitter glue across the front. There it was, a red ball that read, Grandma's First Christmas, 2002. Next to it, a ceramic angel with a broken wing. On her gown, it said, To Mom, Love, Ashley. Christmas, 1997. And a snow globe that no longer snowed, but once had our last name printed across the base in silver script. I sat with that box on my lap for a long time. Holiday items, more than almost anything else, carry a unique kind of emotional weight. They're seasonal. They come out once a year, but they hold decades of meaning. We hang them up year after year as little anchors to our memories. They remind us who we were, who we loved, and what mattered most at the time. But what do we do when we no longer decorate as we used to? When the tree is smaller, or no tree at all? When the house is quieter? When the names on those ornaments now belong to people we don't see anymore, or who are no longer here? The instinct might be to pack them all up and donate them, hoping someone else can enjoy them. But here's the hard truth. If something has a name or a specific date, most thrift stores won't sell it. A mug that says, Merry Christmas from the Thompsons 2009 won't make it off the shelf. A family reunion ornament, a faded banner with Happy New Year 2012, these items usually end up in the trash. Not because they're not meaningful, but because they're too specific to someone else's story. So, what can we do with them? First, take a moment to honor the memory. You don't need to hang the ornament or keep the snow globe out on display, but you can hold it. Remember the moment and say, Thank you. Then ask yourself, do I need to keep the object in order to keep the memory? If not, here are a few gentle alternatives. Take a photo of the item and store it in a digital memory album labeled Christmas Past or Holiday Keepsakes. Repurpose old ornaments as gift tags or craft projects for grandkids. Use personalized holiday linens or towels as wrapping cloths, or donate them to local animal shelters for bedding, if they're still clean and usable. For items too damaged or specific, discard them respectfully, knowing they've already served their purpose. And if you really want to preserve the spirit, consider creating a small memory shadow box. Choose a handful of the most meaningful pieces, no more than 3 or 4, and arrange them in a way that honors the season without storing a whole bin of things you never use. It's okay to grieve when you let go. Letting go of holiday items often means letting go of a version of life that has changed, a tradition that's faded, a person we miss. But remember this, love doesn't live in the ornament. It lives in you, in your stories, in your voice when you talk about those old holidays, in the way you care for your space now with just as much intention. You don't have to keep every decoration to prove the holidays mattered. They did. They always will. Now you get to decide how to carry that meaning forward without carrying the clutter. So the next time you open that box, ask not just, should I keep this? But also, has this already given me what it came to give? And if the answer is yes, then maybe it's time to thank it and let it go. 7. Mismatched dishes in plastic containers without lids. Let's take a walk into a place we all know too well, the plastic container cabinet. You know the one. You open the door and hope for the best. Lids tumble out. Bowls shift. Somewhere in the back is that one piece you've been looking for since last Thanksgiving, wedged behind a container with no bottom and a lid that hasn't had a match since 2012. Maybe it's not just plastic containers. Maybe it's that mug from your dentist's office with a chip on the rim, or the souvenir cup from a state fair 3 towns away, or the plate with the gold trim that no longer matches anything else you own. We all have that collection, the odds and ends of a kitchen that has served us through decades of meals, guests, leftovers, and life. And when it's time to declutter, we often look at those things and think, someone else could use this. I'll donate it. But here's what really happens. Thrift stores receive dozens of these items every single day. Unmatched bowls, mystery lids, single wine glasses, cloudy containers, coffee mugs with slogans long out of fashion. Most of them never make it to the shelf. And if they do, they rarely sell. Why? Because people are not looking for more mismatched clutter. They are looking for useful, complete items, clean, in good condition, and often part of a set. Most thrift stores simply don't have the space or interest to sort and clean individual pieces of outdated dishware. They often end up discarding them. So while your donation came from a place of generosity, it may end up becoming someone else's trash problem. But here's the better part. You have options, good ones. First, start with an honest assessment. Have I used this in the last year? Does this lid fit anything? Would I serve this dish to a guest? Does this make my kitchen feel clear or chaotic? If the answer leans toward no, it might be time to say goodbye. Now, what can you do instead of donating? For plastic containers, recycle them if your city accepts food-grade plastics. Check the number on the bottom. Use clean, lidless containers as drawer organizers, junk holders, or even starter pots for plants. If they're stained, cracked, or warped, discard them guilt-free for mismatched or chipped dishes. Offer full, usable sets to shelters or community kitchens. They often appreciate full sets more than pieces. Use chipped plates in mosaic garden projects or stepping stones. Donate gently used mugs to animal shelters. They use them for water or medication. Use 1 or 2 favorites as planners, pen holders, or art projects with grandkids. And above all, let go of the pressure to save everything. Keeping items just in case adds visual noise and mental weight, and donating things just to get them out of your house does not serve anyone, especially if those items are incomplete or too worn to be helpful. You deserve cabinets that close easily, drawers that glide without a fight, a kitchen where everything you touch is something you enjoy using, not something you keep just because. Simplifying is not about emptiness, it's about intentionality. So today, when you open that plastic jungle of a cabinet, take a deep breath, sort, toss, recycle, repurpose, and above all, choose what stays based on what serves you now. Your home has fed generations. It has warmed holidays, held birthdays, and made ordinary Tuesdays feel comforting. Honor it by making space for what still serves you and gently releasing the rest. No guilt, no shame. Just honesty. And maybe a little relief when the door finally closes without a cascade of falling lids. If you're still here, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for caring. Caring about what you give, caring about how your things move through the world, and caring enough to let go in a way that's thoughtful and kind. You see, decluttering isn't just about clearing out a room. It's about clarity, intention, honesty. It's looking at something and saying, "You served me well, and now I'm ready to release you." Not everything we own is meant to be passed along. Not everything that's still intact is still useful. And not everything that leaves our home should become someone else's burden. You've likely spent much of your life being generous, giving time, love, energy, and things to those around you. Now it's time to give differently. Not out of guilt, not out of pressure, but out of alignment with the life you're building now. Let your donations be true gifts, Let your trash be taken out with love. And let your space become one that gives back to you every day, because you deserve a home that feels peaceful. That reflects who you are today, not just who you were or what you used to hold on to. So, as you head back to your closet or your kitchen or that one drawer that always sticks, remember, this isn't about perfection. It's not about doing it all at once. It's simply about doing it right, with heart, with thought, and with grace. You've already begun, and that's enough. Thank you for allowing me to walk this path with you. Until next time, take care of your space, and even better care of yourself.